Hello all, welcome to my channel Pharma Dive. This channel is purely for educational purposes and aims to provide valuable information. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Let's explore, learn and gain together. Today's topic is change control management in pharmaceutical industry. Let's see introduction. Change control is a formal and systematic process used in pharmaceutical industry to manage, evaluate, approve and record modifications to processes, systems, equipment, materials or documentation that could affect product quality, safety or regulatory compliance. In pharmaceutical manufacturing, even small change can impact the quality, efficacy and safety of drug products. Therefore, a well-defined change control system is required as a part of the quality management system to evaluate the potential impact of proposed changes and ensure that they do not negatively affect the product. Change control is also a regulatory requirement. Objectives of change control are maintain the product quality and patient safety, ensure regulatory compliance, evaluate the impact of the changes before implementation, minimize risk, maintain data integrity, ensure proper documentation traceability of changes, and it helps in continuous improvement in pharmaceutical operations. Now, let's understand the roles and responsibilities. The responsibilities of initiator or requesters are identify the need for change and initiate the change control, provide justification and details of the proposed change, prepares risk assessment for the proposed changes. Second, department head responsibilities are reviews the proposed change and risk assessment and evaluates the technical feasibility and operational impact. Third, quality assurance. It manages the overall change control system, reviews the change request and risk assessment, approves or rejects the changes and ensures GMP compliance, verifies the implementation and close the change control. Fourth one, multifunctional team review. It involves quality control, which evaluates the impact on analytical methods, specifications and testing procedures. Then, production or manufacturing department assesses the impact on manufacturing processes, equipment and batch production. Then, engineering or maintenance. It reviews the changes related to equipment, utilities, facilities or HVAC systems. Last one is regulatory affairs, which determines whether the change requires regulatory submission or approval to health authorities. Change control process flow. The change control process starts with identifying and requesting a change, followed by preliminary review by department. Then risk assessment is done, then reviewed by multifunctional team and approval given by quality assurance. Then change implementation and verification is done, effectiveness is checked and finally documentation and closure is carried out. Areas where change control is applied. First, raw materials and packaging. Changes in raw materials, suppliers, specifications or quality standards. Second, manufacturing processes. Changes to production methods, manufacturing processes, equipment or validation protocols. Third, documentation. Updates to standard operating procedures, master batch records or specifications. Fourth, computerized systems, hardware or software upgrades. Fifth, quality control procedures and analytical methods. Sixth, facilities and utilities. Types of change controls. Organizations will typically face two types of change: temporary and permanent changes. Temporary change. A temporary deviation or departure from established procedures, systems or processes, authorized for a specified period or number of instances. Examples: using alternate equipment during maintenance, temporary material substitution, or special packaging required for a short run. Permanent change. Permanent modifications to manufacturing processes, facilities, equipments, utilities, specifications, or documents that impact the validated state. Examples: changes in API supplier, altering batch size, updating analytical methods, installing new equipment, modifying SOPs, or changing the manufacturing site. Change control categorization. Change control is categorized into critical, major and minor changes based on their impact on product quality, safety, and efficacy. Let's see critical changes. The changes that have substantial and measurable impact on quality, safety, or efficacy of products. Examples: change in manufacturing facility or equipment, modification in process parameters impacting the product quality, change in raw material source or specification. Major changes. The changes that is likely to have significant potential to have an impact on quality, safety, or efficacy of product. Examples are change in packaging material, minor equipment upgrades, updating the testing procedures, change in autoclave load pattern, change in lyophilization process. Then minor changes. The changes that have no impact on quality, safety, or efficacy of products. Examples are typo correction in SOPs, reformatting of documents, routine maintenance that does not affect the process. Regulatory requirements for change control includes guidelines from ICH Q7 and Q10, FDA 21 CFR Part 211.100A, Hydraulics Volume 4, WHO TRS 937, and PICS PI 006-3 and Schedule M. Benefits of change control are: it ensures consistent product quality, it prevents regulatory non-compliance, ensures traceability of modifications, supports regulatory inspections, reduces operational risk and deviations, and improves process efficiency. Let's see challenges in change control, which are regulatory compliance requirement, complex risk assessment, coordination between departments, extensive documentation, implementation delays, resistance to change, revalidation requirements, production schedule impact, and lack of training. Conclusion: change control is a critical component of pharmaceutical quality management system that ensures all changes are systematically reviewed, approved, implemented, and documented. By following guidelines from organizations like International Council for Harmonization and regulatory authorities such as US FDA, pharmaceutical companies can maintain consistent product quality and meet global regulatory standards. Overall, a well-implemented change control process supports continuous improvement, operational efficiency, and patient safety in pharmaceutical industry. Thank you everyone for your time and attention.